Hello and welcome to this session about 3 trends changing the transport refrigeration industry right now. Fresh and tasty food. Might it be exotic fruits, fresh vegetables, fish or meat? We all need it and we all like it. To allow us to enjoy that fresh fruit, refrigerated transport is needed. Today, Alan Chara, Strategic Marketing Director for Commercial Refrigeration at Danfoss, will answer questions related to transport refrigeration, and I'm happy to have the possibility to have a chat with him. Me, that is Jörg Saar, working as an applications manager in the Danfoss Cooling Global Applications team. Alan, welcome. Pleasure to have you here. Is there anything you'd like to say before we get started hitting you with questions?
Sure. Thanks, Jörg. Just a few words before we get started. So, what qualifies us to talk about transport refrigeration today? Well, I think of two things. First, Danfoss is a global leader in innovative product design, and we are a key technology partner to the leading OEMs. So because of that, we are often asked to weigh in on market trends and how they are shaping the industry. And we're here today to do just that.
That sounds great. That's good to hear. Thanks. So let's get started. Transport refrigeration accounts for over 24% of all global CO2 emissions. And transport is growing faster than any other sector globally. So this is certainly one of the main motivations for electrification of transport. Alan, can you please elaborate a little bit on that topic and what it means for transport refrigeration?
Sure. Thanks, Jörg. So when we talk about electrification of transport, we're really talking about the switch from diesel engines to electric motors. And electric designs, they have the benefit of reducing CO2 emissions, but also increasing energy efficiency and reducing noise. So let's talk about road transport. We are seeing electrification in the vehicle drivetrain and in the refrigeration unit. The refrigeration unit is powered by a diesel engine, which is coupled to an open-style compressor. The diesel engine is the major source of emissions. And with urbanization leading to concerns around congestion and air quality, which is leading to changes in policy and consumer preferences, then we see the market moving towards greener alternatives, such as electric designs. These can either be hybrid electric or all electric.
Hybrid electric. That sounds interesting. Can you tell us a bit more about hybrid electric units, please?
Okay, so hybrid electric. The unit can be powered by either a diesel engine or an electric motor, hence the name hybrid electric. So when the vehicle is on the road, the compressor is powered by the diesel engine. But when the vehicle is parked and plugged into grid power, the unit is run by an electric motor. The diesel engine can then be shut off, thereby reducing emissions.
All right. And what are the main differences to an all-electric unit?
Okay, so the main difference with an all-electric unit is that they don't even have the diesel engine and are only powered by an electric motor. So when the vehicle is on the road, the electric motor is powered by batteries, and when the vehicle is parked, you can plug it in to run the electric motor and recharge the batteries. So to summarize, hybrid electric has what is called a zero emission operation when plugged in, while all electric is full zero emission. And I should also say that hydrogen fuel cells and cryogenic solutions are also acceptable full zero emission technologies.
Wow, that sounds interesting. And I guess all that has an influence on the refrigeration system and on the compressor of the refrigeration system. What are these impacts on the compressor?
Okay, so that's an important point. In these electric units, the compressor is no longer directly coupled to the diesel engine and instead gets power from the electric motor. And this has a major impact on the compressor design. Compressors will no longer be these open style belt driven, and instead will move to hermetic compressors with variable capacity and variable compression ratios that best cover the cooling needs of the application. And with this move, we also expect that the usage of electric expansion valves will increase as well.
All right, you said will move. When do you expect to start seeing these changes?
Okay, so timing is the biggest unknown right now. But we could see an accelerated timeline if policies like those proposed in California become more broadly adopted. And for those of you unfamiliar with these proposed regulations in California, they would require full zero emission truck units starting in 2024 and phasing in of the fleet 15% per year over a period of 7 years. And then also by 2024, they would require zero emission operation for all new trailer units, and then converting that fleet over by 2028. So, Jorg, I hope that wasn't too long of an answer, but there was a lot to discuss in that question. And I just want the audience to know that Danfoss is here to support with our application expertise and our innovative product solutions.
Thank you, Alan. That was a very good answer with very interesting information. Thanks a lot for that. Short comment to all participants. You have the possibility to ask questions to Alan and me afterwards in a chat session. We are really looking forward to have good discussions with you. Let's come back and switch gears and talk about the refrigerant side. Now, the industry is facing the next big refrigerant change, this time away from HFCs like 404A or 134A to refrigerants with a lower global warming potential. Which alternatives do you see, Alan, now, and what do you expect in the future? Can you please start with reefer containers and then afterwards talk about road transport?
Sure. Okay. Thanks again, Jorg. That's another great question. So let's look at the short-term view first. So with the F-gas phase down in process, most manufacturers of reefer container units offer R513A as a substitute for R134A. And for those of you who don't know, 513A is an A1 refrigerant or non-flammable with a GWP reduction of approximately 56% versus 134A. And on the other side, road transport has started to move to a lower GWP alternative to 404A, which is R452A. This is another A1 refrigerant with a GWP of a little more than half that of 404A. And both 513A and 452A are HFC refrigerants, and therefore we could expect them to be phased out in the future as well. So that brings us to the long-term view. We expect the market to move to ultra-low GWP solutions, and we've actually already started to see this happening. And from a Danfoss perspective, we believe that A2Ls, especially less than 150 GWP, and natural refrigerants to be strong long-term options.
Quite some changes, Alan, that we see here, but what does that really mean for the industry?
Okay, so what does that mean for the industry? Well, it means that we need to be ready for a future where there is not one clear refrigerant choice. And we must be ready for a future that includes flammable refrigerants. And then how do we ensure safety of those units? But either way, Danfoss is well positioned to continue its market leadership. We closely track the developments in the refrigerant landscape, and we have a robust process in place to qualify our new products.
When you talk about products, I mean, we talk about components that go into the refrigeration systems. Can you please tell us which products are qualified for which refrigerants?
Okay, so to start off, most Danfoss products are already available for those interim A1 refrigerants, the 513As and the 452As. And then also, we have already qualified for several of these A2Ls less than 150 GWP, such as 1234YF and 454C, and also 455A. And actually, we can't forget that we will continue to expand our portfolio of products that are approved for natural refrigerants, such as CO2 and propane. So to those in the audience, I suggest reach out to your Danfoss representative, discuss which low GWP options make most sense for you and in your situation. And then we can also, Jorg and I, take some questions later on in the chat.
Oh yeah, looking forward to that. Thanks for your question, answer, Alan, again. And I could hit you with more questions, but it seems we are running somehow out of time. So let's change direction a bit and talk about something else. How does the transport refrigeration industry contribute to fresh and safe food supplies?
Okay, so Jorg, as you mentioned, for sake of time, I'm going to try and keep my comments on this one brief, but I will mention where we have some other sessions that go into some more details on this topic. So with that said, transport refrigeration, it definitely plays an important role in the cold chain. It's a critical part. It links production, processing, storage, distribution, retail. In fact, we have another session that goes into more on this topic. It's called The Power of a Sustainable Cold Chain. And I really recommend the audience checking that out.
You mentioned connected cold chain. I keep hearing about that. What is a connected cold chain?
Okay, so to put it simply, the connected part of the cold chain, this utilizes connected devices for temperature control and monitoring across the cold chain. And transport refrigeration also plays a key role here. We could also call these telematics systems, and they've become more popular now in modern transport refrigeration units. But there's a challenge, and that lies with connecting the different monitoring systems across the cold chain together and then being able to act upon those available insights. Another obstacle is, for a fully connected cold chain, is connecting legacy equipment that does not have these factory installed telematics. So these are just two types of challenges that Danfoss is engineering solutions for today. We'll add links to the chat because we've got a couple of other sessions where we highlight our connected products and services. So, well, that's it for me, Jorg. I really appreciate the questions.
Thank you so much for your answers, Alan, and many thanks to all listeners for sharing your time with us. Hopefully you got some interesting and useful information here. Alan and me, we certainly enjoyed sharing our views with you on these important topics impacting the transport refrigeration industry, from electrification via refrigerants to connectivity. So again, many thanks to all of you listening to us, and we are looking forward to talking to you in the chat.